Imagine vast desert landscapes, a haunting harmonica piercing the stillness, and Henry Fonda reinvented as one of cinema's most terrifying antagonists. Once Upon a Time in the West is far more than a simple dust-filled shootout. It represents Sergio Leone's operatic goodbye to an entire genre. This landmark film broke every Western convention, merging European sensibilities with American mythology to create something wholly original. Behind those legendary close-ups lie countless hidden details that showcase Leone's brilliance. Today, we reveal the secrets behind this cinematic treasure. From unusual on-set techniques to unexpected casting choices that continue to inspire filmmakers, discover why this movie remains the ultimate Western elegy. Number 1. Fonda's darkest turn. Picture Hollywood's cherished father figure stepping into the shoes of a merciless killer. That's exactly what happened when Henry Fonda agreed to portray Frank, trading decades of heroic roles for sheer villainy. Leone's casting decision was revolutionary. For over 3 decades, Fonda embodied America's moral compass on screen. Leone, however, recognized something darker in those familiar blue eyes. He specifically instructed Fonda to keep them visible, believing that their warmth would heighten Frank's menace. When audiences first witnessed him coldly murder a child, the shock was immense. Casting against type became one of cinema's most daring moves, proving that the most effective villains are often the ones you never anticipate. Fonda's transformation defied expectations and redefined what a Western antagonist could be. Number 2. The Fly That Stole the Scene. The opening sequence at Cattle Corner Station lasts nearly 10 minutes without dialogue, yet one tiny detail made it unforgettable. Watch Jack Elam's character carefully during those tense minutes. His constant twitching wasn't just masterful acting, it came from an inventive practical effect. The crew attached a live fly to Elam's face with a nearly invisible thread. As the insect struggled, Elam had to react naturally, turning his discomfort into real-time tension. This minute detail highlights Leone's obsession with authenticity. He understood that even the smallest element could make a massive impact, transforming a simple fly into one of the film's most memorable supporting performances. Number 3. The Train That Never Appeared. Typical Western climaxes last only a few minutes, but Leone stretched nearly 10 minutes of pure suspense where simultaneously nothing and everything occurs. The train the gunmen await becomes more than transportation. Its approach is inevitable, yet Leone deliberately delays its arrival. Every creak of leather, every droplet of water is amplified in this tense silence. Audiences squirm alongside the characters, desperate for release. Leone demonstrated that suspense is built not by action itself, but by the anticipation of it. When the train finally arrives and chaos erupts, it feels simultaneously shocking and inevitable. Patience, not speed, yields the most potent cinematic moments. Sometimes, the longest waits deliver the greatest rewards. Number 4. Each character had their own theme. While most scores simply accompany the action, Ennio Morricone's compositions become the action itself. He treated Once Upon a Time in the West like a grand opera, giving each major character a distinctive musical identity that announces them before they even appear. Harmonica's theme pierces with loneliness, Jill's melody soars with hope, Cheyenne's music struts with roguish charm, and Frank's motif creeps with dark menace. These are not mere background tunes. They are musical personifications woven throughout the film. Morricone effectively crafted 4 musical personalities that interact, clash, and resolve like human characters. This operatic method elevated the Western genre into high art, proving that music can be as vital as dialogue or plot. Number 5. A Voice Without Lyrics. Jill McBain lies at the emotional center of the film, and Morricone understood her music required something extraordinary. He found it in soprano Etta Dell'Orso, whose wordless singing became Jill's signature, conveying her entire arc without a single word. Dell'Orso's soaring vocals expressed Jill's fragility as a new widow, her determination to rebuild her life, and her resilience under adversity. Morricone knew words would constrain the music's emotional breadth. Her voice instead becomes a universal language of feeling, transforming Jill's story into myth through pure musical expression. Number 6. A nearly retired Leone. After completing The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Sergio Leone was ready to retire from westerns. The Italian director was tired of dusty landscapes and gunfights, yearning to explore new genres and storytelling styles. He even considered directing an American gangster epic, which would later evolve into Once Upon a Time in America. Leone's fatigue wasn't just creative. It came from believing he'd said all there was to say about the American West. Producers worked tirelessly to persuade him to take on one last Western, granting him full creative control and unlimited resources. That final film, intended as a farewell, became his masterpiece, proving that the finest art can emerge when an artist thinks their work is done. Number 7. A team of future legends. Before they were famous, 2 young Italian cinephiles joined Leone to dissect American Western mythology. Bernardo Bertolucci and Dario Argento were eager film students questioning everything they knew about cowboys and frontier justice. They brought fresh European insight to worn-out American tropes. Bertolucci would go on to direct Last Tango in Paris, and Argento would redefine horror. In 1968, however, they were simply passionate collaborators, helping Leone shape his vision. Their outsider perspective allowed them to see the myths of the genre more clearly, producing a Western that felt both familiar and utterly foreign. Number 8. Bronson's defining role. When Clint Eastwood declined to return, Leone faced a major casting challenge. Charles Bronson, a seasoned supporting actor in Hollywood, had yet to achieve leading man status. Leone recognized a rugged authenticity in him perfect for the mysterious harmonica. The role required an actor who could communicate entire backstories with silent glances. Bronson's weathered features and weary eyes made him ideal for Leone's mythic storytelling. European audiences immediately embraced him, transforming him from a reliable character actor into an international star, demonstrating how one role can redefine a career. Number 9. A cameo that never occurred. Leone envisioned a symbolic farewell to his Dollars trilogy, casting Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef, and Eli Wallach as doomed gunmen in the opening scene. This would have represented the death of his former Western heroes and the birth of a new vision. Unfortunately, scheduling conflicts and Eastwood's refusal prevented this, and Van Cleef was unavailable. Without the full trio, the symbolic resonance was lost. This remains one of cinema's greatest what-ifs, imagining Leone's former heroes literally passing the torch to a new generation. Number 10. A script that seemed endless. Leone's ambition was evident from the first draft, a 436-page behemoth that could have required multiple films. Overflowing with mythic imagery, character development, and Western film history, it was more a study of the American frontier than a screenplay. Each page reflected Leone's deep understanding of genre conventions and his desire to both honor and transcend them. Dense with backstory and philosophy, the editing process became as crucial as writing, condensing this epic vision into a focused narrative. The final film maintained its grand scale while achieving the intensity that makes every scene vital. Number 11. Cheyenne's role switch. The beloved bandit Cheyenne almost looked very different. After Eli Wallach's unforgettable Tuco in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Leone considered him for Cheyenne, but feared audiences would see too much of Tuco. Prior success was set aside for the story's sake. Jason Robards brought a grittier, more world-weary charm, differentiating Cheyenne entirely. This choice demonstrated that leaving familiar collaborators behind can lead to stronger storytelling. Number 12. Cardinale's daring first day. Newcomer Claudia Cardinale began on set with an intimate scene opposite Henry Fonda, marking Fonda's first on-screen nudity. Leone's bold choice reflected his insistence on vulnerability and authenticity from the outset. This trial by fire established the production's tone. No easing into comfort, only raw, truthful performances born of creative risk. Number 13. Landscapes that deceive the eye. The film's sweeping vistas suggest Monument Valley, yet most scenes were shot in Spain and Italy. Leone masterfully blended European locations with select American backdrops. Spanish deserts became Arizona, Italian valleys became the frontier, and viewers remained unaware. Leone painted an imaginary West, more symbolic than geographic, existing everywhere and nowhere, blending reality with mythic imagery to perfect his vision. Number 14. Leone's cliché anthology. Dusty stagecoaches, isolated train stations, and high-noon duels fill the screen. Leone intentionally packed the film with nearly every Western cliché imaginable. Rather than avoiding these familiar tropes, he examined them with almost anthropological curiosity, treating them like relics from a fading mythology. In his hands, each cliché gained deeper meaning. The saloon became more than a place to drink. It felt like a sanctuary for wandering souls. The railroad symbolized far more than travel. It represented unstoppable progress rolling forward and crushing everything ahead of it. Leone reshaped worn-out Western imagery into elegiac poetry, demonstrating that clichés themselves are not the problem. When handled by the right filmmaker, well-known elements can become powerful symbols of an entire era taking its final breath. Number 15. The slowest pacing ever. Most filmmakers worry about boring their audience, but Leone turned boredom into a creative weapon. He stretched quiet moments until they felt unbearable, lingered on faces until awkwardness became fascination, and delayed action until every viewer felt the tension tightening. This unusual pacing transforms ordinary scenes into operatic moments. A man slowly drinking water becomes a reflection on survival. Two characters silently staring at one another becomes a psychological duel stronger than any shootout. Leone believed anticipation could be more powerful than action. His films prove that cinema's strength doesn't come from non-stop movement, but from carefully timed release. By forcing the audience to wait, he made every moment matter. Each gunshot, each line, and every small movement gained weight because the audience had patiently earned it. Number 16. A harmonica that haunted the West. The mysterious stranger's harmonica is not merely a musical prop. It represents his entire past and identity. Throughout the story, the haunting melody echoes repeatedly, but its meaning remains hidden until the devastating final flashback. Years earlier, Frank forced a young boy to carry his brother's weight by standing on his shoulders while a harmonica was forced into the child's mouth. As the boy's legs eventually collapsed, the instrument fell silent and his brother died. That traumatic moment became the driving force of the stranger's life. The harmonica transformed into both a memorial and a tool of revenge. Once the truth is revealed, every note heard earlier in the film gains a new meaning. What once sounded like atmospheric music becomes the echo of vengeance itself, a memory replayed endlessly until justice is finally achieved through Frank's downfall. In that instant, the harmonica changes from a mysterious quirk into the emotional core of the entire story. Number 17. A death we never truly witness. Cheyenne's final fate occurs completely off-screen, challenging typical Western storytelling. His capture, his daring escape, and the deadly wound he receives during that escape are never shown directly. Leone deliberately hides these events, trusting viewers to imagine the missing pieces. This absence perfectly supports the film's mythic tone. By concealing these moments, Cheyenne evolves from a simple character into a legend whose actions are too grand to fully observe. All we see is the aftermath, a wounded man sharing a quiet, heartfelt moment with Jill before fading away. What might have been an action sequence becomes pure mythology instead. His